Welcome to another episode of Willing to Talk About It. I am your host, D. Harmon. In this conversation that I was so privileged to have with Chef Kevin Barge, better known as the Premier Chef, Kevin shares his journey of overcoming adversity at a young age. And I mean, he has some troubled times. Growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, he faced the challenges, a rough community, broken family. But what I love about this story, despite the obstacles, Kevin committed to change and sought therapy to address his emotional trauma. Chef Kevin he emphasizes the importance of mental health in the Black community, especially with men, especially with us, and the need for support and resources. He also discusses the challenges faced by Black entrepreneurs and the stereotypes that limit their opportunities. Through his culinary journey, the Premier Chef honors the legacy of his grandparents through his joy of cooking. The conversation with Kevin, the Premier Chef, covers his journey from moving in with his grandfather after getting out of prison to becoming, right here in Charlotte, a successful grill master and chef. I'm gonna tell you, the brother can cook, y'all. I'm gonna tell you that. Through the chapters of our conversation, we explore themes of validation. We talk about forgiveness, embracing change, recognizing greatness, overcoming stereotypes, just to name a few. Kevin's passion for cooking and providing healthy food and flavorful food are highlighted here in this conversation. The conversation also delves into the importance of accepting greatness. Because let's just be honest, we're all great. We just need to accept it. He talks about the impacts of genetics on food preferences and the power of social media to grow your business. The Premier Chef talks about how one post by an IG blogger named Corey Wilkins of The Daily Special, go follow that brother at The Daily Special, and that post took his exposure to another level. Kevin's commitment to mentoring others and passing on his skills is emphasized. He talks about that tonight. Who he's working with, who he's mentoring, who he's putting through his apprenticeship, as well as the importance of tradition and the skill in his craft. In this conversation, Chef Kevin, also known as the Premier Chef, discusses his passion for cooking and his unique recipes. He shares his love for oxtails, one of my favorites, used to be anyway, and the challenges of creating an exceptional dining experience for his customers. That's you. The Premier Chef emphasizes the importance of supporting others, building a community, as well as giving back to those who have supported him, which he does every single Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 5 at what has become known as The Lot. He also discusses the racial wealth gap and the need for African Americans to support each other in business. The Premier Chef shares his love for sleep and reading, out of all things, in his spare time. He concludes this conversation with many, many, many things, but one of which by expressing his gratitude for being able to help others succeed and his plans for future expansion which has already begun. Do yourself a favor. Listen to this conversation in its entirety. Listen to it in its entirety. I declare that something in you will be elevated. You will be elevated after hearing this. If you're watching on YouTube, you will be elevated after seeing this. Let me go ahead and get out the way. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you can get updates on when new shows come out. We will, I promise you, continue to bring you great special guests like Kevin Barge, better known as the Premier Chef. Let's go.
Yeah.
What's going on, Kev?
Hey, how you doing, boss man? I'm doing good tonight.
All right, man. All right. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk to us tonight. And let me just say, I was on Instagram scrolling through like I do sometimes. I scroll through and you popped up. Instagram is like they got their funny thing the way they do. And I noticed that somebody that I know was following you. So I said, let me see what this is all about. And you were cooking on the grill, and it's so freaking difficult to find grilled anything here. And me, I'm 50 years old. I've changed the way I eat a lot, so I look to stay away from the fried foods. And
Yeah.
I told my girl, I said, we gotta go check this brother out this weekend. It was a Monday. I said, we gotta go check him out. Nonetheless, it was forecasted for 80% rain. Now,
Mm,
you've lived here, 80% rain, it's gonna rain.
it's
60%
going, yeah.
rain, it's gonna rain.
It's
60% rain, maybe not. 80%
yeah.
rain, nonetheless, I came out. I thought, yo, I'm gonna just go right up, probably be nobody there, get my food, and be out.
Nah, don't
Chef,
worry about that.
chef, chef, the line was long, man. And we took our time. We got the umbrella. Luckily, we had a big umbrella and we waited it out, man, to get the food, man. The food was great. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. What's been going on? What's been going on, Chef?
um, just working, trying to uh, utilize all my avenues to expand and stuff like that. But normally just working and relaxing. So that's why I'm only open 2 days a week, y'all. I work 18 to 20 hours on them days, and then I go to sleep for the rest of the week.
Okay, okay, we're gonna get to all that too. So, Chef, are you originally from Charlotte,
No, sir. I'm Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised.
Jacksonville, Florida? Okay, okay. What was it like growing up in Jacksonville?
Well, yeah. Um, Anybody who know about Florida know Florida rough in itself, but Jacksonville is known. Uh, Code name is the Bangum. The reason why is because it's shoot 'em. It's like older western out there. It's like shoot 'em up, bang bang all day, all night. Especially coming up in the late '80s, early '90s.
Uh huh.
When the drug epidemic was at its peak, it was real rough. It was very very rough, very rough.
Now, Kev, what did you do? Did you grow up in a two-parent household, or was it just a single parent?
Nah, my daddy got caught up in the hype of the '80s. He was um, a very known drug dealer in the '70s and '80s. But then when the crack hit, you know, uh, that was it for him. So I was one of the ones that I was born in a two parent household, but it didn't last long. Once I think I want to say by the second grade, that was about like 85, crack epidemic at its peak. You know, I lived the life by
Yeah.
slowly seeing everything in my house being sold
Wow.
until it was time to get
Wow.
kicked out. Mhm.
Mm. Now,
Then
do you
after
have
then,
any
it was a
brothers and
single parent
sisters?
household. At six.
Okay, so six brothers and sisters?
I'm the oldest, but my dad was a Rolling Stone, so they spread it out.
Okay, okay. So after second grade, it was just mom and the kids.
Nah, nah, it was just me moving around because mom ain't. I don't think she was equipped for all that. So it was like either my auntie or my grandma house. Just depends on who felt like dealing with me at the time.
Wow, man. Hey, chef, I like where this is going, man. And you and I talked a little bit, but I'm we're gonna unpack this. We're gonna unpack this. I appreciate you being willing to talk about it. I really do.
Oh yeah, oh
So,
yeah,
so you moved around at a young age. Dad got caught in the street game. Mom was a little unfit at that time with everything going on, but the family stepped in and said, "Listen, give them to me. We're gonna do something with them."
yeah.
Okay, okay.
I mean, it was off and on. My mom would come back every now and then. She'll come back, then she'll get tired and she'll tell me to go somewhere else. It's just still, she was young. I mean, I can't really fault her for it. She wasn't number 18. She was 17 when she got pregnant with me. Just turned 18 when she had me, you know. So she didn't know how to be a mama. And then coming the fact that
Right.
um, my father put her through so much during that time. She looked at me. I looked just like my daddy. So that go to hatred, the
Yeah.
despise. I'm the problem. She can't take it out on nobody else. Dealing with not able to deal with the mental and emotional hurt in a very positive or a very healthy way. It was always a very unhealthy way because coming up, let's be honest, coming up black in America, we traumatized. So we don't know how to deal with emotions unless we learn. And back then, not knowing how to deal with emotion, coming from dysfunction herself, all the things she knew was dysfunction. So it's like, you don't address it, you run from it. You don't address it, you get rid of it. You don't heal it, you
Hmm.
bury it. So, and coming up like that, that's just what it was.
Wow. But yet and still, you persevered through that. Now, have you and mom had a conversation about that? Because I mean, you
I
seem
ain't,
like
I
you
ain't talked to my mama in
understand it.
14 years. It's been about
Okay,
14 years since I
okay,
spoke to my. Yeah, about 14
okay.
years, I say.
But it doesn't seem like there's any roadblocks in your mind or in your heart per se. I mean, there may be
Oh
some, but
no,
you
not for
you
me. I've
understand
been
it.
to therapy. I went to therapy for years, so not for me. I know how to deal with my emotions, my mental state, and I would say that I'm a pro advocate for mental health. I feel like everyone who's black need to go talk to somebody about it because being growing up black in America is traumatizing within itself because of all the stereotypes, the stigmatism that we go through. Like it's just so many different things that we have to deal with as a minority,
Mhm.
even coming up in the culture, being seen as an inferior race amongst those that's around us, and it's buried in us constantly. It's constantly beating us that we are less than. We can't be anything unless we're an athlete, drug dealer. They don't promote higher education or entrepreneurship amongst us. We don't have those tools. And plus, our circle is so small when it comes to successful like people that's open to help that, most of us have to do it on our own. How we gonna know how to do something that we don't even see the blueprint for? We don't know how. We don't have instructions. We don't have the blueprint of how to build a successful business or even know how to start a business is hard. There's people out here take advantage of us every day that know how to do something and charge us an arm and a leg to do it, and kind of find out it only costs maybe $100. You can start a business with $5, $15, but people don't know that
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
it's information that others are not willing to share.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And we're here in Black History Month, and two two black men. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Growing up in the projects, I'm 50 now, so I grew up in '73, born in '73. But growing up in the projects, Bridgeport, Connecticut, I mean, that drug game was real. I seen a lot
Mm,
of it. Thank God my mom didn't succumb to it. She fought through it. But by the way of my grandparents, um, they lended a very, very big helping hand to me, and along with the community at the time. So being with your grandmother and your aunts and stuff like that, how imperative was that at that time in your life?
mm. You know, I would say this: it's good to have supporting roles, but when you grow up feeling like neither one of your parents want you, it doesn't matter who they are. You always blame yourself as a kid
Okay.
because you don't understand anything outside of that. So, I lived a rough life. I was in the streets at a very, very young age. I didn't been in
Hmm.
trouble a lot. I would say most of my adolescence was trouble. That's why a lot of people, my family, they look up to me. They look at me with surprise because everybody swore I wasn't gonna make it. I caught my first possession with intent to sell when I was 13 years old. So it was like they knew I was going to the streets.
Right, right. And that was based off of you had free time.
Yeah, lots of it.
You had a lot of free time, unsupervision.
Well, I
Hmm.
can't say that because the people that I chose to who honestly was there as a family was all hustlers. Like uncles, cousins, they was all in the streets. So it was like it was inevitable for me to take role and take part in the streets. Because coming up in the projects, as you know, that's all you see. People that go to work, they got
Correct.
mediocre jobs like McDonald's and Burger King. You don't want that money. You want the money from the guy who got the nice cars, the nice clothes, the jewelry. Can eat what they want to, go where they want to. You don't want to follow the people that's barely making it. You want to follow someone to get you out of the predicament that you see, but not understanding that the predicament that you see only going to keep you there by your environment, the things that you keep continuously do. It's a spiral. You know, most people in the hood, even if they make money, they don't leave the hood. They stay right there. And if they do leave, they feel uncomfortable, so they go
Correct.
back.
Yeah, you right about that, man. You got a very, very good, clear picture of what goes on in the hood, and a lot of people don't have that picture. And I'm so glad that you're willing to share that. I mean, which leads me to believe, which I say all the time, if someone's willing to talk about it, then they must kind of understand it, but also it's not really plaguing them anymore. It's not holding them down. It's not holding them back. So do you feel like you see it clearly, but you've gotten over that kind of mindset and everything?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I didn't. I, I went to prison when I was 16. Came home at 21, went right back at 22, and came home when I was 25. And I ain't been in trouble in over 20 years. So um, after my second time, I started. That's when I started therapy, and then started really addressing the core reasons of why I felt angry or why I felt like I had to do all these things. And one of the reasons is because most of the time we'll come up in a mind state that um, I don't I don't deserve it. Even if they don't say it, they feel like most of us feel like we're not worthy to be in these other positions. That's why we look at people who raise above these positions in such admiration because deep down we don't feel like we deserve it or we worthy of it because it's pushing our subconscious that we're nothing, that we're worthless. Like we're always supposed to have nothing or always supposed to struggle, but that's not true. We have to change our mindset so that if we can rise above this and those who do and understand have to help those who don't understand so they can see. That's why I do what I do because I've just be trying to, set a precedent. Like, listen, if you make it, show love to those who put you there to make it. Because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't get support from y'all. Of course, you come to my lot now, you see a diversity of people, but who started me, Rosa, is us. So if I ain't try to reach back and help us, who am I? Do I deserve the fame? Do I deserve the popularity? No. If I'm not helping one another, my people who help me, then I don't deserve none of it.
Right, right, and you're right because I did find it very unique, and we're going to get to what you do on the weekends and how you do it. And when I got there, I was like, whoa, and that was one of my questions I had. But we're going to get to it. So at that point in your life, you get locked up, 16 years old, and let me just be transparent with you, man. I caught a gun charge at 16, maybe 17. I didn't have to do no time. I took a 2 year, the 2 year, maybe 3 year probation, and I was in Connecticut, so whatever. But um, what was that like? Where did you, if you remember, what was the mindset? Obviously, you came out, did 4 or 5 years, went back, but what was you're feeling invincible? You're feeling like you hear the stories. I'm not gonna make it past 25, 30. You possibly seen gang members, seen guys getting football numbers at that time. Um, what was the mindset, and what helped you change? More importantly, who, if anybody, helped you turn that thing around?
Well, first I would say it was a self awareness thing. I mean, I can't say anything outside of that. It was more of a self awareness thing that I don't want to continue to live my life like this. Um, the second time I went to prison is when I had the awakening. The first time, you're right, invincible. I done been through a lot. Like I got bullet wounds all over my body. I got stab wounds. I done been through a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I've been shot in the face. I got a bullet in my head right now. I don't know, but people don't really know this type of stuff about me. And when I look at it and see how when I came home from prison the first time, all I wanted to do is get out and make some more money because I done bulked up. I'm bad. Everybody know I'm 21. Everybody in my area know who I am, what I do, how I do it. The word come back from prison because I used to fight all the time. Um, I ended up in a maximum security adult prison when I was 17 because I beat up a guard at the junior prison. So when I went there, I was the youngest person on the compound at 17. There was a camp called ACI. Right? That's a gladiator camp. Anybody from Florida know ACI gladiator. It's maximum security. The medium time that people got there is 30 years. Like most people that got 30 and over, and they all grown. So they put me in that prison. I was the youngest person there, and the only thing that saved me was that this big dude, very known on the compound, knew my uncle from the streets, and that's where I fit in at. I would say that's the only thing that saved me from not getting killed at that age, is because of him. And I felt like, okay, well, I'm invincible, so I fought. I did everything. I ain't let nobody try me. I said, you set the president. As soon as you step in, it's like they try you. You got to straighten them right then, or you soft forever. Ain't no coming back from it. So I done been stabbed 3 different
Right.
times in prison because of not letting nobody push me over. Um, Came home, big guy on the street, everybody waiting on me to come back. Did what I did, was back within 18 months. But when I stepped in that prison the second time and went through the same, strip naked, being cough, open your mouth, I told myself like, yo, I would never ever come back here. And I felt like the break that made me is when the
Hmm.
judge, because by the time I was 21, I was considered a habitual violent offender. And the judge told me I was never going to see the streets again. And he stuck with that for about a year.
Mm.
Like I sat in jail for like a year. And he told me if I don't take this 30 years mandatory, he going to give me natural life. And you know, unlike the proper thing. I say, you know what, 30 years is life, so we going to trial. Like I don't care. So I went through the whole process. Trial had like 17 felonies against me. Were beaten felony after felony because they ain't had the evidence that they assumed said they had. And then at the end of it, 18 months in, the district attorney offered me uh, 3 years mandatory. I was like, okay, I'll take it. When I came home, I said I already knew I couldn't had no more strikes because that was my third strike, but I had no more strikes for real. Because if I would have did anything after that, I would have never seen the streets. So I had to get myself together. Once I got myself together, I just never looked back. I found ways to maneuver through the system. A lot of us come
Hmm.
home and we can't get no job because we got a violent record or we got drugs on our record. But I found ways to maneuver around that. And being so, I was always very intelligent of how I made my moves when I came home from prison. And it's the funny thing, within a year coming home from prison, I was a supervisor making like $27 an hour over a big company. And these people never knew I had a record, but it was ways around it. You know what I mean? Yeah, they did background checks, but it's ways
Right.
around it back then. You know what I mean? But I showed initiative that I wasn't going back. I was making a good life for myself. You know, I went back to school. I went to culinary school. I did a whole bunch of things to make my life better than the streets. And one thing was moved away from Jacksonville, Florida. That was the number one thing I did.
Right. Right. So you mentioned that the judge was going to give you 30-year minimum.
hmm They wanted me to plea out to 30 years.
Right. And you said, listen, with no mother, was your mother involved in this at this point?
Nah, nah, I was just on a long time ago.
Yeah. So you was just you out there playing the street code. I'm not copping to nothing. I'm taking it to trial. And I'm gonna be
I
honest
had no
with you, man.
co-defendants.
Okay, so you really didn't have nobody to throw you under the bus.
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I'm be honest with you. You definitely don't want to take it to trial. You about to yeah you be out in about 30 years, like they said. You know when you do that. So for you to do that and get 3 years, I mean that's a blessing. That's a blessing right there. And you mentioned you went to culinary. Did you go while you were in prison or when you got out?
When I got out, I went to culinary school when I got out.
Now you said you were the oldest, mom not really there, dad not really there, so you were that big brother that had to prepare meals already anyway.
Well, no, no. I was just the only one that. Okay, so I only have one sister from my mother, uh, but I was the only one that was disowned. My sister, my mom took care of my sister. She just didn't take care of me.
Okay, 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 okay. So what made you? Did you have a passion for cooking, or was that just like take this? Here's an avenue.
Okay, so how that came about when I was young is my grandfather owned a construction company. He fixed on cars. He did everything. Now my granddaddy, he was the positive male role model for me. Once I got older, I drew back on who he was in order to become a
Okay,
better man. Um, but if you was home, you was working. So either he finna take you to this comp to out here to strip this house, to break up stuff, to get on this roof, or you finna get out here and play with this engine. One or the other, you gonna be working. But if grandma say she needs you in the kitchen, then you can stay home. So that's how that came. I came in Florida sun in the summertime, that heat don't play. So I was like, Grandma, tell granddaddy you need me today in the kitchen to do something. So that's where it was more like a forced thing, but then I became passionate with it. It became something I really enjoyed doing just because first it kept me out, it kept me in the AC in the house. And secondly, it just became something that I really liked because at young age I like to eat. Like so I like to make good food. I like to eat. My grandma, she used to keep me in the kitchen. Then my auntie, who was the mother figure in my life, she cooked really well. So I used to be in the kitchen with her learning stuff. And then I used to cook, always cook good, and then I used to say, you know what? I want to learn the science behind cooking because just because I can cook good doesn't mean that it's good for everybody. Everybody gonna like it. Everything is the same. We learn how to cook with all these fats and salts and stuff, and it's not
right.
healthy for us. So when I became more aware of different seasonings, more aware of different things I can cook with to make food taste good, it changed the game for me. Like I don't put salt on my meat, and nobody don't know that, but I don't put salt on my meat because I understand that's one of the things that help us extend the high blood pressure. You know what I mean? So it's like if you learn seasonings that help people versus hinder people, food become not good tasting, but also good for you.
Hmm. Now, how old were you when you're back with grandma and granddad and auntie? How old were you then? Was this after the two bids you
I was
did?
still young. No, no, no,
Or
no, no,
this?
no. After the two bids, it was just me. But I was young. Well, my grandma and granddaddy moved away when I was in the third or fourth grade. They moved south. So then it was more my aunt and my mom, like back and forth from my aunt and my mom. Like if my mom wanted me, she'll keep me for a little while, then she'll kick me out. Then I stay with my aunt. Then my aunt always wanted me, but still in yet, that's my aunt. I know I'm not her child. You know, as a kid, knowing that your mama don't want you, it doesn't matter who allows you in their house. You just know that that's traumatizing to know that your mother don't want you, and it's like back and forth. It's not like I don't want you, go away. It's more like I don't want you, I want you, I don't want you, I want you. It's the back and forth pull, which eventually
Right.
make you feel certain type of ways. It really messes you up worse than if someone took you in as theirs and raised you versus someone constantly telling you they want to be there, but then they snatch it all away as soon as they get mad. That's it's on a different level. So um yeah. So my aunt was always there with open arms.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. So what I'm hearing is you really learned how to cook at an early age.
I think I baked my first cake when I was like 8, 9. That's when I started making desserts, and then I was cooking full meals at 10, and I was doing I was doing a whole bunch of stuff in the kitchen with my grandma and my granddaddy. My grandma and my auntie. I was doing, all type. They taught me how to do a lot, and I was self sufficient young because when I was in the first grade, I used to be home by myself all the time because that's when my dad was on crack. My mom was never there, so I was home all the time by myself. Like I
Okay.
might only see them like once or twice a week.
Wow. Wow. That's a big deal, man. And so many people don't understand. Chef. Well, first of all, I encourage you to write a book because it'd be a very damn good book. Trust me on that. And I'm in the middle of, yeah, it would, man. I'm in the middle of writing my second book. And one thing about writing a book, it causes you to have to do research. And even though you lived it, you really want to find out what was the whole damn truth. And looking at that crack epidemic, not just crack AIDS, and what people would do for the drugs, man, and the abandonment of our generation. I'm 50. You seem to be somewhere between that 40 and 50 range.
46.
Okay, you 46. And so we talk about abandonment. My mom never abandoned me, but in some ways my father did. But I don't know about it until I hear the story. So I don't have anything against him. He passed away, and thank God before he did, he and I had developed a great relationship that I would say was great based off of him not really being there for so much of my life. But that was due to those drugs. And it took so much away. I had my grandmother, I had my grandfather, I also had my mother, but I don't think all of my mother. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
don't think I had all of her, but her presence was there. I wasn't involved in no yelling and screaming or nothing like that, or guys in it. I wasn't involved in that. But my grandmother and grandfather really, really influenced my life, and it sounds like your grandmother and grandfather had a similar impact on you up until the point that they left.
I want to make it very clear. First off, it's my dad, mama, and father I'm talking about, not my mom, mama, and father.
Okay,
I want to make that clear because my mom's side of the family is her father and mother is different. My grandmama on my I kind of got mixed feelings about her because of my granddaddy, but I have to also understand what era she came up in.
That's so
Um,
important.
you
That's so
know,
important.
understanding that she came up in the era that whatever your husband do is what your husband do, and you shut up and you do what he say.
Hmm.
You know, but my grandfather was a horrible person. My mom's father, like I understand how she is because he was one. It's people who wrote books about how horrible he was. You know what I mean? And I
Mm.
mean literally people have written books about how horrible my grandfather was. I'm not. It's not just saying it in a figure of speech. This is actual reality. Um, and that was someone I really never wanted to be around. Um, but my father's mother and father was just amazing. Like my grandfather was a very powerful man, strong mentally, physically, emotionally. He would say stuff like you see him, you'll think that he's like very stern and very hard, but he just was a man and he was very loving. Anybody will tell you he was the most loving man. He was very stern, but he was very loving. And if you did something, he didn't judge you for it. He loved you through it. And that was something that I took from him that was very, very powerful for me to grasp his and understand. I remember one time a family member stole money from him and everybody wanted to kill his family. Like, we're gonna find him, we're gonna do this to him. He said, no, you're not. You're gonna find him, you're gonna bring him to me because that's mine and I love them. And I'm gonna let them know that that money don't stop my love. And he got them
Mm.
and he said, "Listen, I love you anyway, and you always welcome here." And that was deep, you know.
Yeah,
That's what type
especially
of
for
man
you
my
at that
grandfather
time
was.
because
Yeah, that's the one that moved. They moved away. When they moved away, that changed everything. Because before they moved away, I was good, but when they moved away, it changed everything.
now let me ask you, why did they move away and why didn't they take you with them?
Oh, okay. So they moved away because my grandfather was a pastor, so he moved away for the church that he was pastoring in. So he had to move away because first he was driving, but that got too much. So they found a house and he moved to go be a pastor there. And the reason why I couldn't go is because if I moved away, that mean I would have had to change school systems. And if I changed school system, then my mama couldn't get the assistance that she was getting for me. So I had to stay in the city, not per se with her, but I had to stay in the city so she could still claim me as a dependent so she can get her benefits.
Yeah, this is raw, man. This is the raw truth. This is the uninterrupted truth. For those just joining us, you're listening to Kevin Barge, owner of Premier Chef here in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's giving his side of the story. He's willing to talk about it. And I'm going to be honest with you, Kev. I had some notes down here, but it wasn't nothing that we talking about right now. It wasn't nothing about what we're talking about right now, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. And we're getting up to who you are today. But there's so much to unpack. And that's why I do the show, because there's so much more than what we see. It's about how we
Yeah.
got here, what we persevered through. And that needs to be explained because there's some little boy, some little girl out there, maybe your son, my daughter, your daughter. If you have kids, I know you have a son, right?
Yeah, I have a daughter too. She's 18.
Okay, so your kids, I mean, I'm sure you've shared a lot of this with them, but I mean, it's here. They'll forever be able to listen to it. So once grandmom and granddad left, things turned around, went on the other side, got into some trouble. 24, 25 years old, you said, you know what? I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this no more.
Mhm.
Went to culinary school. And how difficult was that? How did you lead? How did you get into that? Was it somebody that said it? Did you see a flyer or program? How
Nah,
did you get into that?
well, in Florida, it's crazy because when you get out of prison, it's so much available to you. if you know how to go get it. And I feel like that's in every state, but I haven't done time in other states, so I wouldn't know. But in
Mm.
Florida, when you get out of prison, like you can go get a degree for free. You can go to any school you want to. I mean, it's a path you have to take to do it, but they got scholarships for you for free. So I didn't have to pay to go to school to do anything. Like I went to school for computer engineering. I went to school for culinary. I went to school for general maintenance. I went to school like I used to just stay in school because if I worked, did school, I still got a check from them. Like I got kickbacks. Like it was just so much that they gave just for you to keep learning. You know, just for you to find different career paths, just for you to do different things. And plus the career that I was in, they would send me to school too. So it was like they would send me to school, and I get bumping my salary. I get bumping. It was just a lot. You know, it was so. If they had it offer, I took it. I didn't. You know, I was gone.
Okay, okay. Now you went through multiple lessons over there in school, but what stood out about culinary? What was it that you like? I know grandma, you stayed in the kitchen with her and auntie at a young age, and so did some of that
I
come
was
back
really
to
good
you,
at it.
or
Yeah, and cooking is a passion of mine. It was a passion of mine then, and I would say both things I did was a passion of mine. When I used to rehab, how do custom remodels, that was a passion because of my grandfather, and then cooking is a passion because of my grandmother and my aunt. So most of the people who played significant roles in my life, it's like I do it because it reminds me of them. You know,
mm,
when I build something, it reminds me of them. You know, when I cook
mm,
something, it reminds me of them. So it's like they live on through legacy that they left inside of me. And it's like as I grow, it's like this is for them. You know, they was average people, you know. Back then we didn't have social media, so they only extended as far as they reach could for their kitchen. But here it is, have extended all over the nation, you know, sponsored by Square POS system. I got people calling me from all over the nation trying to fly me out to do different things. And it's all an extension of the legacy that they left behind. You know, they live on through me. Every bite you take is influenced by someone in my family.
wow, that's a big deal, man. You really bringing it. You really bringing it, chef. I mean, you really bringing it. So you made me believe that your grandmom and your grandfather have passed on.
Yeah, both of them.
Okay, okay. Now, how did that change you in any way?
My grandfather passed. It's been like 19 years ago now. He
Okay,
passed shortly after I got out of prison. I want to say I was out for a good year and a half before he passed. And then my grandmama passed just, I think, almost 5 years ago. So she passed right when COVID started to hit.
okay. Was it COVID related or?
No,
Okay,
she
okay.
just was. We don't know how old she was. She came up in a time when she was in the country, and when they came to the city, whatever you put on the birth certificate, that's what it is. So
That's what it is.
she, yeah, we all debate. She 92, 96, 100. We don't know.
We don't know what
She
she was.
didn't even know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. When she
but
was a senior though, she was. But I tell you, man, I had my grandmother and grandfather. My grandfather died about 10, 11 years ago. Very influential in my life. That's why I'm just listening, man, because I didn't
hmm
think that someone had this same story to tell. I really didn't. And my grandmother died just last year. Matter of fact, her birthday's tomorrow. She died last year, February 5th. Her birthday's tomorrow. She would have been 98 years old. Now, again, maybe 98, maybe she was 102. We don't know, right?
we don't know.
We
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, she looked good. She looked good. Her mind was good. But just to be able to sit at her feet for so long, Kev. And I used to, when I lost my grandfather, I felt like I had not had enough conversation with him because, like I was just, he would drop nuggets here and there, and I was like, whatever. I was into my own self at that time. But then once he died, and I realized, man, I haven't had those conversations. I really started to have those heart to heart conversations with my grandmother, and I'm glad I did because I didn't have that same feeling when she passed away. I felt, okay, this is cool. But that's great. That's great. So
It was
You get
I would say it was different for me though, because um my grandfather, I was the last one to talk to him before he passed. I would cook for my grandfather, and that's another thing. Another reason why everything I do is consider him. When I was learning how to cook, doing different things, I would cook for my grandfather, and he wouldn't eat nobody else's food but mine. And
really.
I'm the person he would call. Anytime he like, boy, come make me something to eat. Come make me breakfast. Come, what you doing right now? You at work? No, come over here. And we would sit down and we would talk. And we was really close. And my granddaddy, I could say he had his mind all the way into the last moments. So
Hmm.
our last conversation was a very deep one.
Mm.
Um, because he passed the next morning. So that hit me hard because we just talked a couple hours ago. You know what I mean? And they tell me he passed, and I'm like, how is that possible? I just was with him yesterday. Like we just were talking. I brought him some food. I helped him. We just was together yesterday. So what you mean? So I would say that was the hardest loss I ever had was my grandfather. My grandmother, I was more prepared because you know I was just more prepared. But with him, nah, that came out of the blue.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know what you mean. Now, do you think your grandfather, looking back on it, do you think he had you been having heart to heart conversations, or you think he just took it to another level? Because they say sometimes people feel it, they know.
Oh yeah, he he told me he told me that he was finna pass. Like the last conversation we had, he told me. He say, I'm finna go and I love you. Me and him had that deep the heart to heart, and I was like, man, you ain't finna go nowhere. And then he looked at me and he said, son, you knew me your whole life. You know me. Do you think that I want to continue to live like this?
Mm.
He said, I can't walk on my own. I can't do nothing on my own. I can't even feed myself on my own. And he said, you know me. Do you think that I want to still be here? And he said, I'm finna go. Love you. And he said, if you love me, you won't hurt when I'm gone because you know that I'm in pain no more.
Man, this is a
And that was
powerful
deep.
stuff. This no,
Yeah,
it's
that was
deep.
deep.
It was. Hey, listen, Chef. It was deep then, and it's deep now. It might even be even
Mhm.
deeper. You know.
Yeah.
So, so how did you cope with that? Now, we're 19 years ago. You had just got out, looking to navigate. You've already decided I'm not going back, and then you lose your grandfather. How did you navigate that? You did mention earlier about counseling. Had you been through counseling prior to this, or did this lead you into it?
Well, I was in counseling the whole second time I was in prison. And then it instilled a different thought process in me. And I was out, I would say almost 2 years before my grandfather passed. So I got a lot of time with him. I got a lot of memories, a lot, because I spent a lot of time with my granddaddy, a lot, because he was old in age. He couldn't really do nothing. So he was happy because I was the only one that didn't complain about doing nothing. I mean, like
Yeah, yeah.
everybody, like, oh, I don't, because all my other people that was around was very young. So, they want to live their life. They want to run the streets. Me, if he called me, I'm there. You know,
Hmm.
boy, come fix me something to eat. All right, I'm on my way. You know what I mean? What you need? Bring me this. Okay. And we would sit down and we would talk, and he would give me nuggets all the time. But in his, older people got that he was a funny old man. That's why I get my humor from because he used to make everybody laugh, and he would
Hmm.
say whatever he felt when he felt like saying it, and he
Hmm.
didn't care
Hmm.
who you was because it came from a pure, honest place. But it hurt me. But his words always rung in my ear, like, "This is what I want, and if you love me, you will understand that this is what I want. I'm ready to go. It ain't about you. It ain't about what you want. It ain't about your unresolved issues. It ain't about you not feeling like you had enough time. It's about what I want. And if you love me and you respect me, you understand that you wouldn't want to see me suffer just because you can't take not seeing me every day." You wouldn't want me to stay here and be on a life support machine, or being here taking all these crazy medicines, or being here watching them chop my toes off, chop my leg off. Piece by piece, take it, breaking me down because you not ready for me not to be here for your needs every day. Not even understanding that this pain, constant pain that I'm going through, this constant agony I'm going through, this constant me feeling like I'm not a man because I can't even feed myself. I can't even clean myself. You wouldn't want that from me if you love me. You'll want me at peace. You'll want me free of this bondage that I go through every day. And that he told me, and it used to ring in my ear when I was at his burial. I cried, but I held it. I sucked it up. I heard his words. Well, if you love me, you won't cry for me. Sucked it up. Just was, you know, went through it. Say he at peace now. No more suffering.
Man,
Yeah.
and the thing about it is losing my grandmother was kind of unexpected, Chef. So I get the whole piece of being selfish. Nothing more would we have wanted to celebrate her tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nothing more would we want to have celebrated her 100th birthday. But the reality of it is she's gone. And it would be selfish of me, like your grandfather was really alluding to. He might not have used the word selfish, but he was
Oh, he
alluding.
did.
Okay, so he was alluding to the selfishness that we have, that we don't want to release from someone that's ready to go, someone that has given so much of their life already, and you're able to celebrate that with them. And that's so imperative. And once we look past ourselves, we start to learn and we start to see the glory and the grace of their life. And there's so much joy there, there's so much learning there. And it seems like you've done that. And you're still doing that today. Like you said, when you cook, you think about him.
Mhm. Yeah. One of his favorite things is barbecue. So
So your grandfather and grandmother had moved. So when you got out, you moved over there with them, or at least in
yeah,
the same city.
yeah, yeah. No. When I got out, I moved with my granddaddy. Because I was grown, and I went and I called him. I say, Granddad, I need somewhere to stay. He say, "Are you still with that mess?" I said, "Nah, I'm gonna do the right thing, Grandpa." He said, "Well, you always welcome in my house, boy. Come on." And that was it.
Okay, okay, okay. And you never look back from that time till today. Nah,
Yeah,
nah, nah.
and he lived long enough to see what he wanted to see because he seen me go from being who I was, habitual violent offender, always in trouble, always, wow, to a man that go to work every day, come home, and just see me embracing, maturing as a black man in America, and finding my place. And he lived long enough to see me going that route. And he told me he was proud of me before he passed. That was one of the last things he said to
What a blessing. What a blessing. He was so basically he gave you that validation.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So many people, so many adults, even today, you 46, I'm 50, but there's a lot of adults that's walking around with no validation and they're still
yeah.
seeking that. And some of them know it, some of them don't know it. But I'm so glad that your grandfather, not your biological father or your mother, but someone that you cared about, someone that you love, was able to tell you that they were proud of you, even after having gone through two bids and they still believed in you. They still saw the you that
Hold
was inside of
hold on,
you.
I gotta interject. I gotta interject for a second. So me and my dad got a very good relationship now, like very good
Okay, now,
relationship. My dad was here. He was here not too long ago, a couple months, on the yard with me, cooking with me and everything. Me and my daddy, we talk on a regular basis. We got a really good relationship now. I don't hold any of that. Like I told him, I don't care about none of that past stuff. We as adults have to let go of our past. If someone is willing to take accountability for the mistakes that they made, my father was a teenage father. Like he had me when he was 18. he was young. And if we look at the actions and the thought processes of young people nowadays, we could understand that you didn't know what you was doing. You didn't. You got out there on drugs. You did this. You did that. I can't hold that against you for mistakes you made. Only thing I can say is if you can really take ownership and accountability of what you did, and you look at me and say, "Son, I'm sorry. I know I did. I wasn't the best, but I want us to have a relationship." I can't. What type of man would I be to say no? You know, that mean I'm holding a grudge, and that can only hinder me. We can only we only hindered by the grudges that we hold. If we don't give people forgiveness and move past that, that only hurt us. Because once they come to us in a sincere way, they didn't release that. But if we block it, then that only hinder us now. So me and my dad, we got an awesome relationship. You know what I mean? He was up here, stayed with me for a little bit. We came to work with me. We got it in together on the grill together. So we talk on a regular basis, and I love my pops. He give me insight. Sometimes I feel like I'm the daddy. But at the same
Right, right.
time, I got major love and respect for my father. He see me differently, and I see him differently. I can respect him as the man he is, and he respect me as the man I am.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the story that you just told about the family member that had taken something from your grandfather and how he forgave him.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you kind of was already taught that through that process.
That was therapy.
Wow,
No,
wow,
no,
wow.
no, that was therapy. That was therapy.
There,
Therapy teach you. Yeah, that was therapy because you know we want to hold grudges against people just because they wronged us, but not understanding why they wronged us, or understanding if they even knew what they was doing was wrong. You know,
correct.
I used to talk to people years ago, and I told someone when they was like, "Well, how come the black families are all dysfunctional and these black men are having all these babies and running away?" And I say, how can you expect the black man to be more than what he's seen in his life? Because most of us came up in single parent homes. How can you expect him to be anything different unless he's taught to be different? Unless he take understanding and take the initiative to go learn something different than what he was raised in. It's virtually impossible to ask me to raise a family, to stay home, to marry this woman, have this baby, raise this if I never seen it before. It's not just seen it, but actually live it. If I look all around us, I feel like this the norm. I feel like it's normal for me to impregnate this woman and go on about my business because this is what is always done. This is what's always here. And this is what is always accepted. So if I don't see anything different, talk anything different, learn anything different, this is a continuous cycle that will always be. So how can I judge someone that has done this? I can't. Only thing I can do is try to give them a better way to see things, to explain that this is not the right way to do it. And if you want to be different, you have to be different. You have to change. You got to show different. You got to be different. You got to live different because this is not us. This is what they want us to believe is us, but this is not us. You know what I mean? We're great. We're
Right,
powerful. We have to own that. And it's not just I can fight or I can do this, I can do no, I can be bad, I can be tough. No, that's not what makes us great. The integrity of us, the strength of us to overcome all the obstacles that we have been put before us and make something that no one understands. The things that have been taken for granted, the things that has been taken from us is shows how great we are. When they say we look around, you can't look in your house and see anything functional that was created by someone else that we didn't make better. When they made the light bulb, right? A lot of people don't know this. The light bulb didn't have the filament in it. That was created by a black man. The spatulas, the forks we make cook with, created by a black woman. It's so many things that was created in this world by us that we don't get credit for. And we just was taught that somebody else did it. But a lot of this stuff come from us. Mathematics come from us. Architecture come from us. So it is imperative that we accept that we are great, that this is not the way that we're supposed to be. And it has to take people like me and you to set examples that they can see that, okay, somebody finally doing something different. You will know, listen, you won't believe how many times I get inbox. that they ask me, how much does it really cost? Because we're so used of not someone genuinely giving us the opportunity to excel. We're not used
Correct.
to not genuinely somebody willing to help us without wanting anything in return. It is so
You're
like
right.
it's so crazy that I see it that way. That's the way it is, you know?
Well, you see it clearly, and not everybody sees it clearly because there's so much distracting. And you're focused on what you're focused on. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. I didn't tell you, you didn't know, but I'm a carpenter. So when you tell me your grandfather's a carpenter, I've been a carpenter since 1992, man. And so I'm passionate about it. I love it. Building, blueprints, all that
Mhm.
stuff takes shape in your actual life. And you have these things going on. So I can understand why you say what you say. And I'm just so delighted. And it's taken me to another level just in this very moment. I mean, like I said, I prepared some questions, but I haven't asked not one yet. And so this is great. Yeah, this is great, man. And that's why I like to do what I do. I mean, we could talk about Cat Williams. We could talk about this one and that one. I'm not into that. I'm past that. I want to get to
Mhm.
the greatness of who this man is. I want to find out because I know it's there. It's just a matter of is Kevin Barge, is the premier chef willing to talk about it? And so far, you've proved that you are. So we get to this place, chef. We get to this place. Here you are cooking. The love is already there. You know, we associate cooking with love, but you not only have taken the responsibility to love the people you're cooking for just by giving them a good taste, you've gone the extra. And I know it's true because I've eaten your food. I'm not I'm not over here puffing it up. I've eaten your food. No salt. You've taken into consideration. Now, did you have these physical challenges yourself, or was it just the responsibility and the love for the people that you cook for?
It's the responsibility and love for the people I cook for. Um, and genetics is real, and genetically we didn't have all these problems until our ancestors had to go through the great trials and tribulations that they did, was forced to eat things that was not edible at the time, not meant to be eaten, and it caused a lot of genetic issues when it comes to high blood pressure, diabetes, when it comes to the bowel tracts, the intestinal tract. I'm sorry, the intestinal tracts, and how we process food. It started a lot of different things in us, and losing excess sugar. So therefore, uh, the way that we taste things is different. When we say, oh, like Kool-Aid, for instance, people put a whole bunch of sugar in Kool-Aid, but
Yeah,
not
yeah, back in the
understanding that
day.
it don't take that to taste. It don't take that to have flavor. It don't take a whole bunch of sugar or salt for you to know what things taste good, you know? And just like it's alternatives to it's other ways to bring sodium, because salt is sodium, but it's other ways that you get other healthy ways that you can get sodium from other than direct salt.
Hmm. And that's true because I'm gonna tell you something. Remember when we talked, the question I asked you
Mhm.
after I ate your food was, is there a difference between yams and sweet potatoes? Because you had them. I think you had them labeled as yams, but they tasted perfect. Because I'm not into the sugar stuff, man. I'm really not into
Mhm.
it. I don't. I didn't have your mac and cheese because I don't eat cheese. I'm 50. I don't do dairy. Um, I stay away from the fried foods. Is really a minimum. Maybe once or twice a month now. I'll do some wings or something like that. But I told my girl, I said, look, my man's got the baked food over there, smoked, barbecued. Well, there was no actually, I didn't have no barbecue sauce. I really don't do that either. So this was right up my alley. This was right up my
Mhm.
alley. And to know that you even went a little further because the yams weren't overly sweet. You taste some yams, and it's like,
Mhm.
man, you just feel
It tastes like
you feel
sugar.
your glucose shooting up, man. It's like, whoa, my God,
That's what I get complaints about my yams not being sweet enough, or my sweet potato not sweet enough. But I'm like, to each his own. Like if
No,
I
I love them.
don't
I
take,
love them.
I
I
don't,
love 'em.
the funny thing is, people critique me because they say my food is not don't have enough salt on it, don't it's not sweet enough. I'm like, that's fine. I respect that. To each whoever your taste buds tell you that you like, that's what you like. But it's thousands of people that like mine. So I'm cool with 4 out of 1,000 any day of the week. At least I understand that I'm doing this the most healthiest way I possibly can, and I'm trying to help people eat better and understand that you don't have to pile a whole bunch of sugar. You don't have to pile a whole bunch of salt. You don't have to do that to get good flavor. You just don't. So that is something I learned in school, in culinary school. I learned the science behind cooking. Like I learned that you can bring out more flavor in the meat cooking in intense heat. And I don't know if you ever looked at any of my cook videos, but you'll see me playing in fire, like literally playing in fire. You know what I mean? But the intense heat is what brings the most flavor out. And I learned that from the Asian technique of high heat cooking because they don't even use salt. They just use very high heat and
So
other seasonings, and then they food tastes really good. The food that's in actual Asia, not Americanized Asia.
okay, so you bring up Asia, you bring up what you learned in school. Were you ever did you ever study cooking abroad, or was it just in the US? Like, were you able to go?
Yeah, yeah, I studied abroad.
Wow, wow. What places have you been to study cooking?
Man, I've been a couple different places. I really want to go into it.
Okay,
But yeah,
that's
I've
cool.
been
That's
I've
cool.
been to a couple of
But
different
you've learned
countries.
some different techniques.
Yeah, yeah, I've been to a couple different countries. That's how come I'm an international chef. And a lot of people don't know, I have to try to get away from letting people only know I do barbecue. But if you it's I done posts where I show people like, listen, I done cooked for Death Row, I done cooked for all these famous people, Marlon Wayans, I done cooked for a lot of famous people. And Rick Hendricks is probably one of the most famous people I done cooked in Charlotte. Um, but his anytime they do, staff or the big staff stuff, they will, call me out and cook for a couple of different his dealerships, his stuff like that. So it's like, um, I'm just known for mostly the barbecue, but my extensive history in culinary arts is I was a private chef for a long time. And the way that they get where the premier chef come from is that one day I was doing an event for a loft and they was like, oh yeah, you can use our premier chef. And they called my name and I was like, oh shoot, hmm, I like that. So then it kind of stuck. You know
Well,
what I mean? Because before I was a premier chef, my company was called It's All Good.
okay, okay, okay. So let me get into that, man, because I got to unpack that really, because I want to know how did you get into how did you get to Charlotte?
Okay, so my son, me and my son mom was married. And when she got out of law school, we had flipped the coin and we say we can either go to Charlotte, Colorado. And we was leaning towards Denver. Like we was going to Denver. We say, oh, we moving to Denver. And then I woke up one day, I think it was like in November. No, it was in December. I woke up in December and I turned on the news and I wanted to see what's the temperature in Denver today? And it said -17. And I said, we would not be moving to Denver. I
Right.
said, we're gonna go visit Charlotte next week. So we came up here, I visited Charlotte 2009. And I was like, and Charlotte is the cleanest city I've ever seen in my life. I didn't see like when I say it was clean, it was beautiful, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is where we moving. 2009. That was before all the cities shipped the homeless people here.
Right.
This was like when I walked the streets, I didn't see like no paper. It wasn't dirty. Like Charlotte was the cleanest city I ever seen in my life. And so we moved to in 2010, and that's how I ended up here.
Okay. Now, were you cooking professionally at that time?
Shortly after that time. So in 2000, I was cooking professionally before that, but then I stopped and started working on other things because honestly, the cooking gigs was they was not consistent. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I would get a gig, but I had to have another job. But over time, it's like when I moved to Charlotte, it was crazy because I moved to Charlotte and then all I had to do was cook. Um, and I did that until I was burnt out. Like I had so much private work going on that it was like, oh, this is the money right here. I get up, go cook, do events, making thousands of dollars a week. I'm straight. But
Yeah.
then I got burnt out, went through a divorce. It's like, I don't want to do this no more. So then I started open me a rehab business and started doing custom work. So I did a lot of custom work. Like I used to do custom build out stuff. I didn't do like the simple stuff. I would work on like $11 million houses doing custom walls and things that people would say is impossible. You just showed me I could figure it out
I
and I
feel
would
you.
do it.
I feel you. I feel you
Um,
on that, brother.
yeah, because I know one of the posts I put on, like if you look at my page, you'll see one of these. I did a bar not too long ago, and I had retired from doing it, but I had built this bar, and it's a proxy river table bar. Well, I did the entire thing. It's 35 feet long, and I did the entire thing. The only thing that made me come out of retirement was the money. Once
Yeah,
they
right,
gave me the
right.
number, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I can do it." And I did it in 2 weeks. And people like, "How in the world?" And it's like, because it's just in you. Once it's in you, it's in you. You
It's in
see
you.
it. No one else can see it but you. As a
Correct.
carpenter, you understand.
Correct.
You can look at a wall and be
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I can
you're
do
right.
this, 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 this." And everybody looking at you like, "No, you can't." And you be like, "Just watch."
Now look,
So,
let me tell you how I don't know if you're religious or not or spiritual. I mean, your grandfather was a pastor, and all that you've been through, I'm sure you give credit to something. All right. Just today, I went to a salon, and the lady said, she said, Daryl, watch this. She said, I want to take this countertop and put epoxy on it. Do you do that? I said, no, but I'll find somebody. I mean, this is, hey, chef, this is 4:30
mhm.
this afternoon, man. She said, Daryl, do you do the epoxy? I said, nah, but I'll get somebody. So we're gonna talk after that, man. I came here to talk about cooking. Now you getting in getting in my stuff with the epoxy,
Yeah,
man.
I'm one of the first certified epoxy people from Stone Cold Epoxy. I took the class when I was like one of the first graduates out of the class. So I was an instructor here. I used to teach epoxy classes here. Like some of the people that does epoxy, I won't say most, but some of the people that do epoxy here went through my class.
Wow,
So this was before COVID. So I used to teach epoxy classes in Charlotte.
this is a lot. So you were just dedicated to being on the path of I'm not turning back.
Mhm,
Not afraid to sit in the classroom and learn what you learn. Passionate about your food at the same time, always willing to get better.
mhm,
All right. So
always.
then so what happened that you got out of the epoxy business? The food industry burned you out.
COVID.
Now
COVID.
let me just back up one. You said COVID. Let me back up. A lot of people say I've been in Charlotte since 2018. A lot of people say, "Oh, Charlotte is clicky, and you got to know somebody that knows somebody, and all this kind of stuff." How did you get off the ground? You said you've cooking for this person, that person. How did that happen for you?
Well, I was I always had a thought process of marketing. So how I started when I came to Charlotte and I said I'm gonna, start cooking in Charlotte. What I did was I made a whole bunch of food, plated it up, put my name, my card, and all that on there, and went to doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, and anybody that got money office and gave them lunch for free. Like, I'm a new chef in the area. I do catered lunches, cater dinners, cater events. Here, try my food. Drop off a sample of my food to all of them. Went in my chef uniform, had my serve safe certification, had all my paperwork, so they'll know I was real. Drop the food off and leave. And I did that all around Valentine. So I focused on Valentine and Blakeney and out there where the money at. So
Correct.
that is how I ended up catching all of my events. I called lawyers, I called doctors, I called businessmen. Went to Bank of America events, called them, gave them free food. Like I just started giving my food away, and it was good. So they would call me to come do their lunches. They would pay really good money, whatever I said. The money was that's what they paid because they liked the food. Went to the hotels, talked to the event planners, dropped food off to the event planners at these top hotels like Valentine Resort. I talked to the head event planner in there, dropped them off some food for the whole staff. I said, "How many people in here?" They told me. I said, "I'm gonna bring y'all lunch tomorrow." Made an exquisite lunch for them so I could get on their list. Did that for a loft, and I just expanded that way. And it's like the only way that you can get people to buy your stuff if it's food is if they taste it, or if someone else tell them it's good. But if ain't no one ever told them it's good, or if no one tasted your food, they don't look at it and say, I might not. It's hard. But if you get enough people to taste your stuff and you circle in the right circles, you going to stay busy. Because doing that, I mean, after the lawyers, it was real estate agents. So they would have open houses for mansions. They would
Right.
have me cater open houses for mansions. It was like, it just, the business just came overnight. After I gave all the food away, I was getting calls the next day.
Wow. Wow. You giving game now, man, because for that person out there that's looking to propel their food business that wasn't doing that and probably didn't even think about that, you owe it to the premier chef.
I was in
You owe it.
2010 when I was doing that.
That was
And
2010.
mhm.
Wow.
I had so much business, I got burnt out, bro. I was
Of
like, yo,
course, of
I
course. I've been there.
can't do this.
I've been there.
Mhm.
And was it did you find it was hard to find help though?
Well, no, it wasn't hard for me to find help. As a private chef, it wasn't hard for me to find help because everything was gig jobs. Gig jobs is easy to find help because you cycle through employees. So I would go to the culinary schools and just post the jobs on the board, and I would get flooded with students who wanted to work. But they're students, so they could do a gig, but they couldn't be on a consistent schedule.
Okay, 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 okay. So you got out, burnt out, all alone. You divorced at this time, correct?
Mhm.
Got out, divorced, burnt out, mentally, physically. Um, you get into the epoxy business, take that time, go through the training, perfect the craft, teaching.
No, 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 no. We skipped a step. So I end up going into the union up north. So I moved.
Which union?
I stayed in Charlotte, but I would go up north in the union. I was in the union 211, Applied Tradesman Union, um, 211 out of Philadelphia. So I did that, and as an applied tradesman, polyurethane, epoxies, all of that is a part of the trade. So I went through their classes first, and then all of epoxy stone coat entered the scene. And I seen it because we was some of the first people who seen it, and they was like, "Man, everybody was like, I don't know if I want to do that." And then I was like, "I'll do it," and then I jumped on it, and then from that point on, I just took off. I came back home. I was in the union for a little bit. I traveled all through up in your area, Connecticut, New York,
Yeah,
uh, Pennsylvania. I used to do nuclear power plant shutdowns. So, I was in the nuclear power plant belt up there in Pennsylvania, Jersey, the fuel capital where they got Marcus Hook and all up and through there. I done worked in all them places. Um, but then when I started doing epoxy, I came back to Charlotte. And then the thing is, how I grew that business is that um, I would make stuff with epoxy, make sample boards, make sample river tables, make all of this stuff, and then take them to interior design companies, all the major interior design companies, and show them what I offer, and show them things that I made. And some of them use me for their clients,
wow.
and
Beautiful,
it just grew
man.
from there.
Big deal, man. Big deal. So you have a pattern. You have a pattern. You're
Mhm.
not afraid to knock on the door and let people know what you do.
Not at all.
You trust it.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
and it's
I'm not
proven.
scary. I'm not scary at all. Like when I say if I got a product, I'm one of them people that can go door to door. Like I can go door to door and I will go knock on your door and shoot you that pitch and you gonna buy this vacuum cleaner when it's all said and done.
Right, 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 right. Hopefully it ain't 2,000, man, because somebody got me for a
I
two
done
thousand
sold I
dollar
done sold
Kirby.
hey listen, here go the funny thing. I done sold Kirby's before.
I'm gonna say, oh man, you was that man. They got me for a Kirby, bro. They got me when I was up in
Yeah,
Connecticut.
I was
Man.
hitting them for
Yeah,
the 2100
yeah,
and the
yeah. They
Kirby
got
only
me,
cost me
man.
750. I was here for that 2100.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got me for the Kirby, man. 18. I still got it. I
Mhm.
can't find no parts for it. Maybe you can help me find a part for it. Uh,
I got a rainbow now. My Kirby's trash. I got a rainbow. That's that thing right there, boy.
okay. Well, I only got one rug in the house, like in my man cave. That's it. So I killed all that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But that's great. So you decided to get, like you said, COVID happened. The epoxy business said, "Hey, wait a minute," and it took out so many. COVID took out so many, but you had to trade. As a tradesman, I trust the trade, man. I came down here to Charlotte. I built my business right up, and so like you said, I don't think it. People said it's clicky, but I'm like, I don't see it, man. I was just talking to the girl
Me neither.
today that has the salon. She's from New York, and we were talking like, listen, Charlotte is wide open. Like you can do. There's no ceiling. Like I spent all my life in Connecticut, and there was a ceiling, and you felt it. It wasn't like you felt your head hitting that ceiling. You know, here
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe it's because of where I'm at. Maybe it's the time. I don't know. Maybe it's me being a little bit more mature and stuff like. I don't know. But I'm okay with it. It sounds like you're okay with it. The lady I talked to this afternoon with the business salon, she's okay with it. So I would encourage anybody that's starting a business to take Kevin's advice, and you can tell by just listening to you that there's no excuses. You haven't made any excuses. Like you said, you had the record,
Mhm.
didn't really have the ideal upbringing in childhood, lost your grandparents, moved around a lot. Nonetheless, I haven't really heard you make any excuses thus far.
Oh, there's no excuses. I mean, anybody that make excuses, they put limitations on themselves and they bound to fail. Like if you got an excuse of why you can't do something, then you shouldn't do it. And that's just it. Like if you gonna make an excuse like, well, I can't do this because of this. Well, okay, well you shouldn't do it because you're gonna fail if you do. If you get rid of your excuses and be like, oh, I can do this. I don't care about that. Oh, I can do this. I don't care about that. The limitations are only set by you. I didn't. When I came home from prison, I did set a limitation on me because I was a convicted felon. I said, "Oh no, I'm gonna figure it out." Then set a limitation on me because I didn't have this or I didn't have that. No, I figured it out. It's times that I didn't had to figure things out because I refused to set limits on me and I refused to make excuses about what I can and cannot do. I'm not making an excuse. I'm gonna just make it happen. And that is a way that when we live in this bubble of fear of the unknown, fear of not being accepted, fear of not winning, fear of not making it. But if you fear that, then you're not going to make it. Once you live fearless, you can't fail because you can learn a lesson, but you can't fail because failure is only judged by when you give up. If you never stop going, you can't fail. Point blank, period. That's just like if I cooked from the day, if I wouldn't have never gotten on 3 years ago and I still was going today and I finally if somebody finally seen me, that mean I never failed. I just never gave up. I never let the lessons that I was learning to find my route to be better and better and better at my trade get in the way. Every lesson I learned, I apply it. I learn from it and I progress. As long as we progress and be consistent in what we do, we won't fail. And that is where um, the fear of failure to us is great. Like somebody told me I could never be an entrepreneur because I can't, I gotta have a guaranteed check. I said, but your check ain't guaranteed. That's a facade. That's an illusion because your manager or your boss can get mad, say something out the way to you to make you snap, and you can get fired. Your check is not guaranteed, but you cannot fire yourself. So I would say my money is more guaranteed than yours because every day I get up and go make it happen, I'm gonna get paid. But you can't say the same because your money is deemed about somebody else's emotions, somebody else's thought process, somebody else's vision. It ain't based on you. My money based on me. So I'm gonna bet on me every time.
And you bet on yourself through COVID, and it seems like you're winning. I'll be honest with you. After COVID, you gave up the epoxy business, and you say, you know what? Let me go back to the passion. Let me go back to what I know. You got back into cooking.
Mhm.
What made you pull out the grill and start that way?
I was just playing a little bit, man. I was playing. I was like, let me go out here because I had a building, and I'm like, man, my building, I can't use my building for that, so I might as well just go and put a grill in front of it. See, cause this is how we move in Florida. So it's like, man, you know how to grill. Go on, throw your grill on the side of the road, boy. You gonna get that bread. That is how we move.
The
So when
hustle.
I did it here, that's the hustle mentality. When I did it here, and people was like, hold up, dude got a grill. So let me stop and see. And then one day, uh, Corey from the Daily Special stopped. I didn't have no customers. Like I was probably selling maybe 10, 15 plates a day. Corey stopped by. He did a video. He tasted my food. He came back. He said, man, I want to do a video of you. I said, okay. I didn't know who he was because I knew nothing about social media. At that time, I had 210 followers. I had no idea what social media was.
Jesus.
I didn't care. You know what I
How many
mean?
years ago?
Uh,
How many years ago was this?
3 years ago,
3 years ago. Keep going.
I had 210 followers. I never forget. I had 210 followers. And he did a video and he called me. He say, brother, be prepared this weekend because your video went viral. I said, my video went viral. I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, what you mean it went viral? He said, it went viral, bro. Like you viral right now. He said, so be prepared. I said, I'm prepared for what? I'm by myself.
Right.
Bro, that Saturday, the day after he told me to be prepared, it was 210 people outside my lot waiting on me to serve food. And I looked at them and I said, I don't got enough food for all y'all. I said it just like that, bro. I say, man, hey, listen, I don't got enough food for all y'all. I don't even know what this is. Like, what y'all? And he was like, we seen the video. We seen the video. I mean, it was 210 people standing.
Wow.
I shut the street down. Like, it was no traffic.
I
Like,
believe it.
it was traffic the whole nine. And I'm looking out here like, what the hell is going on?
I believe it. I believe it.
And from that point on, it was just upwards from there. I had to make more food. I started doing more days, and then I ended up getting my big grill done up. Got my big grill, and then I could start doing it because my little grill I couldn't. The
Yeah, you
capacity on
couldn't
that
hit
little
them.
grill was just what it was. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody.
But that big
But it
grill,
don't seem like nobody cared. Nobody cared what size the grill was. They just wanted the food.
and they couldn't get it because I couldn't get. I could only do so much on that little grill. That little grill was only so much. Like
Yeah.
I could probably fit 30 turkey legs on there, like 8 racks of beef ribs, 8 racks of pork ribs, and about like 20 chickens. That was it. After that, I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell you. But then I got my big grill.
Something like what you just mentioned. How long was it taking you to sell out of that? Now, that's a lot of meat, man. 30 turkey legs.
I sold out before I opened every day. When I only had my little grill, I sold out before I opened. Like when they came, I would literally walk the line, talk to the people before I opened, and then send everybody else back home and say I'm sold out before I even opened. Like I was sold out
Jesus.
before I was open.
Wow.
Uh,
And that gave you enough. You once you saw that consistently, you say, you know what, let me go on ahead, get the bigger grill and get where you are now.
Hmm.
Because you was on North Graham at one time.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I was on North Brown. Then when I got my
Okay.
big grill was a couple of weeks. It wasn't that long. It was like a couple of weeks after the influx happened, and then I got my big grill, and then it took off. Like then I was selling out within an hour. Like I think one time the fastest I sold out with my big grill was 45 minutes.
Wow.
And we talking about on the big grill, I probably had 1,000 pounds of meat. It sold out in 45 minutes.
Thousand
Now I do about a 1,000 pounds of meat. Every day I do about 1,000 pounds of meat.
1,000 pounds of meat. Now that's Saturday and Sunday.
No, it's 1,000 pounds Saturday, 1,000 pounds Sunday.
2,000 pounds of meat Saturday and Sunday on the weekend.
Hmm.
Wow. Completely sold
Yeah,
out. And you only
completely
open
sold out because it's
you only open
300
about
pounds of
four or
turkey
five
leg.
hours.
I'm open 4 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday, and sometimes I don't even make it to full time. But then you got to look at my ticket turnaround because you know the line move quick because my ticket
Yeah.
turnaround is like instant. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you got to think I go through 200, 300 tickets a day in that 4, 5 hour time period.
Wow. Yeah, you moving some food, man. 1,000 pounds a day in a 4 or 5 hour period. That's some big stuff. Now, that's 4 or 5 hours, but it take you a long time to cook that. When do you start
Oh
preparing?
yeah.
When do you start
Like I
preparing?
start preparing Friday. I start Friday for Saturday and Saturday night for Sunday. On Friday, I probably start about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm there till um about 10, and then I'm back at like 3 a.m. and I'm there all the way for the whole day, and then I won't leave until like 10, and then I'm back at 3 the next day until I'm done, and then it's time to go to sleep.
Right, right. So what's that preparation like? I mean, do you have any help now?
Yeah, yeah, I have my apprentice um, who helps me. That's why I don't. I used to do all the cooking and serve the food, but I stopped all that. Like once the food done, I'm done. You know, once the food cooked and I make sure everything is in order, I'm finished. Like it's their turn to work. But my apprentice, he's with me step by step now, and I'm teaching him how to be me. And the way I have it set up is it's like the way my business plan in my head when it comes to expansion is everyone that I teach what I do end up being a partner, not an employee. They end up getting their own location and being and having a percentage base. So it's like once I expand, I open a new permit shelf. He will be over that, and he will get a percentage of the business. So the business will be his, but it'll just be under the umbrella of me, and I will
Correct.
get a certain percentage off of it because it's my name, it's my brand, but it will be his company.
And that's the
And I
right way
won't
to
do
do
that
it.
until he have like 2, 3 years under me. He going on year 2 now. So after he got 2, 3 years under me of learning step by step, because my process is very different. And you have it's like with the grills, you have to know how to hear, see, smell. You have to know how all of these things work. And it has to be instinctual. So it's like the grills are very finicky sometimes, and sometimes they get stupid hot, and then sometimes you have to know how to get them up to temperature, where to settle the temperature at, because these are non-regulated grills. Like I don't have thermostats on my grills. I listen to them and I watch the smoke. I know how it works. You know, I've been doing it so long that I can look at the grill, how much smoke coming at the top, how open the stack is, on what the temperature is, how long it's gonna take to cook, so forth and so on. And so I'm training them in the same way because I don't want him to feel like sooner or later, I'll be gadgetized. But as of right now, I'm still trying to figure that part out. Like, how am I going to become gadgetized? How am I going to become digital? Because the way I do it, I don't see a way to be digital. It's going to be a raw skill.
Yeah, you're right about that, and it's kind of like you said, it's like the epoxy, or it's like those custom built furniture pieces. Not everybody can look at that and say, okay, yeah, most of that stuff is built. It's funny because Like I told you, I had a meeting with this lady last night, and I told her, I said, send me all your pictures, send me everything, so I can get it in my head, and I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll wake up, and the thing will be built. It'll just be for me to physically go do it, but in my head, it's built. So I kind of feel what you're saying right there, and that's so important. Like some things just have to be the way they are, and you have a trade, you have a
Yeah,
skill, and some of those things you just can't, like you say, you just can't technology that thing, you just can't AI that thing, so to speak. And being able to pass that down to that young man is I mean, you setting him up to be able to feed his family for the rest of his life in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's important, man. That's important. So wow, how do you keep your creativity, and how you continue to stay innovative with your cooking?
Well, I have so many different ways of cooking food in my head that's different from other people that I haven't even touched the iceberg yet. Like I used to not, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to sell fruits infused ribs. And those used to sell like hotcakes when I was back in the day. Like back in the day when I started barbecuing, like I used to sell papaya ribs, pineapple ribs. That's the type of stuff I used to sell back then. But now it's too complicated for me to sell because it takes a lot and you have to have the right, I'm talking about, ooh, the right consistency in your marinade for them to come out right. And because of my volume so high, I haven't even took the time to figure it out because it was more like, your baby. You know what I mean? Like I sit there and play with them on the grill and find the right, and keep going back and forth and this and this with them. But I don't have time to do that now. So it's not something that I can or incorporate until I expand to a space that I can incorporate it into it. You know what I mean? So now everything I
Hey,
do is just my basic recipes.
wow, wow. Have you ever thought about, even with some of your seasonings? Are they? I imagine they're custom. That you make those seasonings up.
Yes, I make my marinades, my sauces, my rubs. Like I got a wet dry rub, which is different because most people either gonna do a wet rub or a dry rub. But my rub, if you look at my videos of my meat raw, it's a combination. So I use a wet dry rub. And I came up with that. You know what I mean? So I don't use a wet rub or a dry rub. I use both. It's just a way that I do it. It's what seasons I use to incorporate because some of them are fresh, so they're gonna be moist.
Wow, wow. And what's your favorite meat to cook with? What's your favorite meat? What you like to cook with?
Whew. Seafood.
I'm allergic
Mm.
to it, so I never eat your favorite
I-
stuff.
Look, when I say I love cooking seafood, I love cooking seafood. But if I had to do a non-seafood for you, I would say most likely it would be beef. Yeah, beef. I know it's red meat is not that good, and I don't eat a lot of beef, but when I do, I feel like beef is very versatile if you know how to use it. And chicken is very versatile. So I like dog meat chicken. A
Um,
lot of people like the chicken breast, but I like the dog meat. I like that thigh and that leg. So create a lot of different things out of that thigh and that leg.
Now you mentioned, chef, that you used to cook for the elites around Charlotte and all over, really. What's your favorite dish? I know your favorite meat or area, the seafood area, but what's your favorite dish? Give me a balanced dish.
You mean for me to cook or for me to eat?
No, for you to cook.
Oh, okay. Um, Honestly, I would say oxtails. Like my favorite dish to cook is oxtails, but I don't cook it
Oxtail.
often because it's different for me. Because I cook oxtails a traditional Caribbean way, which takes a long time. You know what I mean? Like it's not a quick thing. It takes a long time to weigh oxtails the right way. We talking about 3 hours cooking process. You know what I mean? So it's different. And I like cooking oxtails. I like cooking peas, rice and peas with cabbage. Like I say, the reason why I like cooking it is because that was one of the last cooking styles I learned, and I learned it from my ex-wife side of the family, because they all West Indian. So my father is a great cook, and he taught me little things, and I incorporate it in how I make it. And it's like when I taste something, I want to beat it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
so I'm
right.
eating their food, and I'm like, I need to learn how to make this better, because I feel like I can make this better. So I went and studied and studied the Caribbean culture, the West Indian culture, learned how what they put in their oxtails to make it taste different, things that they use that we as Americans would never ever think that the Caribbean people use in their oxtails. Like, to be honest, I'm gonna tell you an ingredient that I never thought they put it. I wouldn't have never thought that they put in their oxtails, and it's ketchup. I would have never thought that in a
Oh
million
wow.
years.
No, I wouldn't have even eaten it if I knew they would put it in there.
See, listen, a lot of people don't know that. They're like, ketchup.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I haven't eaten ketchup in
it.
probably 25 years, man.
It's not, but the thing is, it's not a lot. It's a very small amount, and you won't even taste it. You know
Right.
what I mean? And use a lot of fresh herbs. You use fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, fresh allspice. You use all of that. You know what I mean? And it has to be fresh, because it's not fresh, it's not right. I know how to make roti from scratch, like roti skins. I know how to make the skins from scratch. I know how to grind the chickpeas up, scotch bonnet. I know how to do all of that. That is my favorite thing to do, but it's very time consuming. I know how to make bus up.
Time
I know how to
consuming.
make fried bake. You know what I mean? I know how to do all that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just don't
yeah.
do it.
So how did you decide where you were going to be in that whole theme around that? Because it's one thing to bring the food, but oftentimes, especially now in such a competitive market, because there's a lot of places to eat here in Charlotte, you know that. What about the experience? Even though you're outside, you're on this grill, it still feels somewhat like an experience.
Yeah, that just came for some reason, and it's a lot of people try to duplicate it in a lot of different ways. And I I remember I was telling somebody, and they was like, "What? How did you know your food was good?" I said, "When I had restaurant managers and owners of five-star restaurants coming to a dirt lot to get my barbecue, I knew I was the man. I have
Right,
um
right, right.
I have managers of golf courses, Quail Hollows, from out of town in the mountains. All of these people that's in these managers of these exquisite country clubs come to my lot to get my barbecue. I have Bubba Smoke, one of the original God doggone godfathers of barbecue in North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
coming to get my barbecue. So it's like, I know it's good because it has been stamped by enough people that would never buy food on the side of the road, and they come into a dirt lot in the cut in the hood
Mm-hmm.
to
You're right
come
about
get
that.
my food.
You're right
You
about
know
that.
what I mean? So I
Yeah.
knew I knew it was good based on the fact that the people will come no matter what. And it's a safe environment. It's comfortable, it's safe, it's fun. But
Correct.
where it's at and how it is, it's like it has to be good if these people are coming out of their comfort zone to be there with us,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's just it. They come out of their comfort zone. And if you can get somebody to come out their comfort zone to get something, it gotta be right.
How much of the business is not just about the food, but about you? Because it seems like you pour a lot into it. And it seems like not just anybody would be able to do what you're doing. How much of it is just about you?
Well, I really couldn't answer that question, because at the end of the day, I couldn't tell you what they coming for exactly. Like, is it they coming to support me because they know, they feel what type of person I genuinely am, or is they come in because the food good? You know, I know a lot of people come because of the food good, but then again, a lot of people tell me like, "Yo, you support us, so we gonna support you." You know, I support us in all type of ways. You know, if it's about us and it's I support us. You know, as I grow, I open different avenues. Is as I get bigger, I open different avenues for free, not for charge, but for free to help us excel. Like once I reached a certain level, I said I pay. Now let's get this straight. I pay for that lot. I pay for that lot. I pay for the lot next door. That come out of my pocket. But I don't charge nobody a dime to be there
Now, when you
because I have reached a level where I feel like it doesn't hurt me to give it away. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I don't read you first. You got to make sure you get there, right? We got to make sure we get there, and then we reach back and try to bring everybody else with us. But first, we got to be able to be stable where we at. We have to be consistent, stable. Once we reach that level, we have to be able to maintain this level before we can help others. And sometimes that is something that hurts us in the long run. Um, you know, speaking on that, and I know this is a little bit off subject, so I'm gonna try to go through this quick. Um, when they ask about the racial wealth gap, right? When you look at the medium of how much money uh black professional make and white professional make, there's not that much difference. Like it's very minor. But when you look at the circle of support around them and who they have to support versus who give them support, it is a major difference. And that is where the hindrance of us reaching other levels stop. That is how come we reach a plateau and we level out because now we got this money, but we have to help auntie, we have to help mama, we have to help grandma, we have to help cousin. We gotta. It's so many people we gotta help, but in their circles, it's so many people helping them. They got this money, but guess what? Okay, I done seen you made 100,000. I'm gonna go ahead and give you 300 more thousand, and you can just pay it back when you get it to expand. Us, oh, I see you made 100,000, so now a grandma finna lose her house, so that go 20,000. Auntie need the surgery and the insurance ain't paying for it, and blah blah blah. So that go 15 more thousand. So it's so many things that hinder us from expanding past that level versus them being able to go further with their circles. And that is one of the main reasons why the wealth gap constantly get bigger and bigger. Not because of the money that we're making, but because of how much money we have to give away, have to give back in order for those that's in our circle to feel a lesser strain on their life. So anyway, you can go on to your next thing.
No, man, that's so true, man. I mean, like I say, clearly, we're not gonna be able to unpack everything here tonight because we'll be on a marathon podcast
Mhm.
for sure. But yeah, we'll be on a marathon. I had to call Guinness and be like, "What's the longest podcast y'all had?" But but nonetheless, that's so true. And as a business owner, I understand. In which I see a lot of businesses. I do a lot of work for them, and then I ask them, "Who's one of your biggest supporters?" And a lot of people get upset that sometimes it's not our own people that are our biggest supporters in some areas. Now, food maybe it is, but some other areas, our price has to change when we're dealing with our own
I'm gonna
people and
tell
things
you.
like that.
I'm gonna tell you in the food industry. I'm gonna tell you what I learned about Charlotte. All right, Charlotte is very finicky. Right now, and I was talking to the Daily Special, Corey, just past this past weekend. He stopped by. You know, he always come through and whatever. So me and him sitting there talking. And I had said, I've seen so many rise and fall in my last 3 years.
Hmm.
Because they say, brother, ever since you got on the top of the wave, you've been at the top of the wave. For the last 3 years, you have not fell off. You have been uphill. You have been growing. You've been expanding. You've been you. And they was like, why you think that the people just keep coming back to you? You think because your food that good? I'm like, nah, it's not the food. Because there's plenty of people that came out that had some really good food that done fell straight off. And I say, you know what it is? It's the fact that we understand us. If you grow and you ain't helping nobody, I ain't with you no more. Soon as you show me that you arrogant, soon as you show me too much chest out of, I'm this, I'm that, guess what? Oh, you got it. You don't need me no more. You got
Right.
it. But the fact that people have consistency seen me giving back to those who help me, consistency seeing me reaching my hand back, helping other people, always about my people and my community, not saying, oh, well, we got a spot out here in Valentine on South End. You want it? No, I'm good. I'm staying right here with mine. Cause that's who got me here. So I'm
Correct.
comfortable with mine. I don't need none of that. I'm straight. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't need the big head. I don't need y'all help. They got me here. Y'all ain't get me here. They got me here. So they support me. I'm supporting them. And that's why my lot is always free to people and even food vendors. I support other food vendors. I advertise them. I tell people they food good. Y'all listen, you can't just eat my food. I need y'all to support everybody on this lot. You might not feel like barbecue today, but guess what? I got something on this lot for you. So come on out here because this us. You know what I mean? This
And
us. You might not, I
and that
might sell out. Guess what? This us. Come on out here. This because I sell out don't mean the lot closed. Come support these other vendors. You know what I mean? And as long as I've been that way, I have never ever lost anything. I
mm,
have gained more by giving than I have ever gained by taking.
that's reciprocity. I walk with a guy, and his name is Jay Parker, and he always says his getting is because of his giving.
Hmm.
I mean, and I could go on and on about the stories that things that he's gotten, and I'd be like, "Come on, Jay, stop it." And I know him well enough to know that he wouldn't be fibbing. He's telling the truth, and but he always says that his getting is through his giving. And so that I mean, when I say giving, I mean just walking by somebody saying hello. You that's just how basic and simple it's gotten with this thing. You know what I mean? That's good. And you're right. All the vendors are out there. I think there was a Jamaican guy out there. He probably was cooking oxtails and stuff, but it was raining.
Yeah.
I wanted to get my food and get back in the car that day, man. And I couldn't believe how long. I mean, like I say, the line was there, and there was other vendors there. They were there. That's amazing that you opened that up for them and invited them to come there and get off the ground. You know, sometimes it takes some dollars to get off the ground, and some people have good ideas they want to do, but they just need to be able to get off the ground to be consistent. You're there Saturday and Sunday. They're allowed to come there every Saturday and Sunday and be there at least till they build up that nest egg to where they're able to go out and do some other things. And that's great that you allow that and you give that opportunity and that space for them to do that with a willing heart too. And then you got the guy that's there with the your MC.
Red. Yeah. So simple, so beautiful. He was my second consistent vendor. Cupcake Me Away has been a vendor with me for 3 years, and she has never gave me a dime when it came to her vending with me. And it got so crazy that she always with me. Her family works with me. Her mama, and her sister, her mama and both her sisters work with me. And she is her own standalone vendor. They've been rocking with me for 3 years. When I went through all my issues, they was there by my side. So that's my family. Like when people say that's your mama, that's your not like, nah, they're my sisters. We not related,
Right,
but them my sisters. They showed me
right,
support through everything I've been through, my ups and downs, my accidents, my traumas, everything. They've been right there, and they always love me, and I love them too. And that some Super So Beautiful, Red and Miss Kathy, they the one make the beautiful jury. That's my family too. So all of us, and one of our family members ain't been there around. That's Rhonda. She a dessert lady. But
uh huh,
she haven't been around. She been going through some issues, but she's still with us. We still talk to her on a regular basis, and when she ready to come back, she knows she always welcome. So it's a lot of people we build a family. And I feel like the bigger our family get, the stronger we will become. It ain't always about just yourself. The more people you get
mm-hmm.
closer and more people coming on a regular basis, we getting tighter, we getting tight knit. and we all out there to help each other. And they asked me, well, how much it costs? I say, actually, one guy asked me, man, man, let me give you something. I say, nah, go give it to the other vendors. I say, go support the vendors. I walk around, I buy from all the vendors, and they don't be want to take my money, and I be like, listen, we all out here to grow. We all out here to make money because you gonna buy my food. I'm not gonna give it to you. So I don't need you to give me
Right.
nothing.
Yeah,
You own a
yeah, yeah,
business.
yeah,
You
right.
don't get in that mindset. Just because you out here on my lot don't mean that I want anything for free. So go ahead. Walk around, I buy stuff all day long. If I didn't support the vendor this week, I'm gonna support the vendor next week. So I got a certain budget and I go walk around, I spend my budget with the vendors, food vendors, jewelry vendors, merchandise vendors, whatever it is, I'm gonna support them because I feel like that is how we grow. And the vendors will tell you, I go buy food from the food vendors and walk the line and give it to them and be like, here, try this. This who got it over there. Try this. He got that over here. And it's just about getting people out there, getting people known. And the food vendors will tell you, like, yo, he'll come buy food from us and just go give it to other people. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
he want people to see. Like I went and bought tacos from the taco lady, and when it handed all the tacos out, just gave them all out because I want people to understand. Like, let's support everybody, not just me, but everybody. Because I don't do this just for me. I do this for us. You
right.
know, like I remember, quick story. I remember one time. A lot of people don't know this. Martin Luther King had got stabbed in Harlem
Correct. I do know
by a
that.
black woman.
Yeah.
And he said if she sneezed,
Hmm.
he could have died, right?
That's right.
But the story behind that is, after he got out of the hospital, he went to Coretta and he said, "I'm finna quit. I ain't doing this no more. If my own people trying to kill me, what am I doing it? How am I doing it?" And
Hmm.
Coretta looked at him and said, "You can't quit." And he said, "How can I quit?" He said, "Because your life ain't yours to quit no more. You don't live for you. You live for them. So
Hmm.
you can't stop because your life is not yours. It's for everybody who supports you, who stand
Correct.
behind you, who willing to die for you. That's who you live for." And
Right.
I live by that. I
You live
can't
by
quit
that.
because all these people that's with me, I gotta keep going. I
Hand
can't
on the
slow
plow.
down.
Your hands on the plow.
Yeah, let's get it.
Now, chef, that leads me to this, and I'm gonna bring it home. I'm gonna bring it home. Not because I have
Hmm.
to, not because we out of word, but we damn sure ain't out of word.
Yeah,
What are you most passionate about now?
honestly, to help others succeed. That's my passion right now. Like food, cooking, I love it. But what makes me happy every weekend, what the greatest motivation for me not to ever get burnt out, because honestly, I'm probably almost burnt out now, but I'm like, I can't stop because I love to see the success stories of others. I love to hear people say, "Man, I've been going through something, but coming out here, man, I'm able to do this or I'm able to do that. I was able to get this. I was able to do it." And it's like that to me is everything. You know what I mean? The dollars is good, but to
Hmm.
know that I help people support their family, I help people reach their goals,
Hmm.
follow their dreams, chase everything without having coming out of their pocket. Because that's the first thing I hear. Like, bro, you know how much they charge for vendors to set up and not even guaranteed that someone go show up to the event?
Tell me about it, brother. I mean, we got to change
And
that,
here it
man.
is.
But you
I
giving
got
it, man.
it's guaranteed it's gonna be people out there at the lot. They coming.
Correct.
You
You
know what
right
I
about
mean?
that.
So it's like I could have charged. I could. People used to tell me all the time, "You stupid, man. You know how much money you giving away?" I'm like, bro, it ain't about the money. When
Mm-mm.
you chase the money, you ain't gonna never have it.
That's true.
But when you follow your heart, you ain't gonna never be broke.
Yeah, a seasoned individual. I'm not gonna say a seasoned entrepreneur or thing. A seasoned individual knows that, and we don't hear a lot of our brothers and sisters say that, especially our brothers. We just chasing dollars, and because in your adolescent time you did. But
Yeah.
when chef's not preparing, when you're not preparing food, what do you like to do in your spare time? What's part of your me time?
Sleep. Sleep, bro. Sleep.
Sleep.
Listen, I slept all yesterday. I probably woke up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I love to sleep. That is my
You like it.
pastime, bro. Sleeping,
You addicted to sleep.
sleeping, and reading. And occasionally I watch
Reading.
Black Dynamite and the Boondocks.
Okay. Okay. I got a book for you, man. I'm gonna bring my book out to you this weekend.
Yeah, I like to read. I sit
Yeah,
down
I'm
and I
gonna bring
read.
my
I
book
put
out
my
to you.
reading glasses on. Yeah.
That's
I read a
great,
lot. I
man.
don't know if you can tell by my conversation, but I read a lot.
I can.
And I gain a lot of insight from a lot of different things. I'm not a reader on just one subject. I read a lot of different things because you can gain insight from a lot of different stuff. So I read a lot, and I watch a lot of documentaries too.
Yeah, yeah. I do as well, to be honest with you. I do as well. I do as well. I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, Chef. What would your older self, you now, what would you tell your younger self?
Mm, that's deep. Nothing. Experiences make me. I have no regrets. Honestly, if I wouldn't have lived the life I live, I wouldn't be the person I am. So I wouldn't tell them nothing because I wouldn't be me. We can't look at life and say, "Oh, I wish I would have done this differently." Nah, no, I'm good because the things that I went through, the things that I endured, I survived for a reason. I had that weight put on me because I can handle it. And look at me, I'm tempered steel now, baby. Ain't no bending. I'm not brittle. You know what I mean? I got a little flex, but I'm strong as hell. I can weight the weight of the world on my shoulders. I can take a lot of things and not look at them and respond to them in a negative way, but more in a positive way to try to show somebody a different way to be. I remember one time a guy had came on my page and said a whole bunch of negative stuff about me personally. And I had say, bro, you know, why would you approach another black man who's trying to make a living, who's trying to support his family in a negative way? If you have an issue with what I do, is it hurting you? And if it's not hurting you, then you can keep that to yourself. But if you're doing it in order to get recognition, why don't you come to me as a man? Because I'm willing to help you before I hurt you. I can help you do anything you want to do. If you want to come to me and ask me advice about how to start your business, how to grow your business, how to do anything, I will be genuinely help you. And anybody who know me will tell you that. And after that, brother, apologize to me. I turned the negative to a positive just by letting someone know that I don't dislike you because you came at me like that. I
Hmm.
understand that we don't know no other way sometimes. And until somebody tell us something different, we won't know. And if they always respond to negativity, it's just an endless spiral. But if I give you positive words to try to help change your thought process, that's all some of us need. It's just to know that someone cares, someone's willing to help. So, yeah, I wouldn't change nothing. I tell them, keep going, brother. You'll learn sooner or later.
You got to control the energy, man. People don't know that. They
Yeah.
give it away so quick with that negative response. They give it away. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what you have. What you got planned? What does Chef want to see in the next phase of his career?
Well, this next phase is always already in process. I'm on the final ends of opening me a restaurant on Bettis Ford. It's already done. I'm at the final phases of it, so it should be open within the next month or so. The building next door, I'm in the phases of building it into a private dinner club. Um, and then the lot. I'm doing all of this so I can keep supporting the lot and put some money into the lot and invest it, build a pavilion out there, have us a more stable and nicer place that we can come and do our vending and our selling. So um, this summer, I'm trying to build out the lot. So therefore, not close it, but every time we close, add something new to it. So therefore, it'll be more. Um, how can I say, more convenient for us.
Hmm.
We have to figure out um, the parking situation. That's why I got the building next door. So I'm thinking about putting the gate there and starting to let people park over there, and then they can walk through the gate. So that'll be mostly vendors on that side, or put the vendors over there and then just use that lot as straight parking, and then just have all the vendors around the building. Either or. I'm trying to work out the kinks in that right now. It's a lot of things that I see going moving forward that is just for us. we will get what we want to be. And I got major support from a lot of people, you know, and I'm just thankful for being a person that was chosen to be a warrior for us, because
Hmm.
I'm showing people like, listen, y'all put the right one in this space right here. Like y'all might have elevated others that let you down, but listen, I'm always gonna help us. I'm gonna show you that I'm for us. I'm not no switch out.
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
take it
right,
there, and ain't no one gonna take me from you unless they legally take me from you, but they not gonna offer me no money, no none of that, because that's not what's important to me. What's important to me is that leaving that legacy. So when people say, "Oh, you remember Kevin Barge? Oh, you talking about the dude? Oh yeah, he a good man. He ain't care about none of that. He just wanted all us to win, and he showed that in all his actions. He want everybody to win. He want all us to go somewhere." It's most people that come to my lot, even if my lot closed tomorrow, a lot of them got recognition. A lot of them got more exposure than they had yesterday.
correct.
Cause Red was telling me like, man, I'm starting to get more orders. I'm starting to get this. I'm starting to grow. I'm starting to this. And now people come in. I'm like, yeah, consistency and exposure, it'll always have you a winner, you know? And like I say, I don't want nothing for nobody. You only got to tell me thank you. Only thing I want you to do is support the others. You want to be here? Go support them. Go buy stuff from them.
Right,
Go help them. I'm good.
right. Now, now, Kev, for those vendors that have never been, what do they have to do? How would they get in touch with you to
They don't
come
have to
out
get in
there?
touch with me. They don't got to get in touch with me. Listen. I'm terrible. I'm gonna go ahead and say this on a podcast. I am terrible at communication. So that is my weakness. I tell people all the time, all you have to do is show up. That's it. You ain't got to call me. You ain't got to ask me. You got to do nothing. We will find a space for you. Like Saturday, show up in the eye after 11, between 11 and 12. So we got time to set you up. And Sunday, show up in between 10 and 11 because we open at 12. So all you do is show up. You don't have to come inbox me. You don't have to ask me how much it is. You don't have to ask me what to bring. Listen, bring what you need because I ain't giving you nothing. It's all you. I don't got no tables for you. I ain't got no tent for you, but I got a space for you. So
Yeah,
bring what you need
yeah, right.
and you can rock out. Just that simple. I don't care about nothing. You food truck. I don't care if you're selling food. I don't care if you're selling clothes. I don't care if you're selling candles, shoes. It don't matter. As long as you ain't selling nothing that's gonna get us shut down. This is private property. So therefore some of the stuff don't apply, but we all know you cannot break the law because we on TV, we on the internet, we everywhere. So you can't break the law, but you can sell whatever you want to. As long as it's legal. I'm gonna just make that clear. As long as it's legal, you can sell what you want to. It doesn't matter. Food,
What
clothes, cakes. I don't care. Ain't no competition out there. We don't compete. That's one thing I have to say. Um, don't worry about if someone's selling what you sell because they not you. Bring whatever you want to sell whatever you need to sell, whatever you want to sell, because they not you. Ain't no competition. We don't look at it like that. Because I dang sure don't. I got other people selling food. I'm not competing with them. They're not competing with me. We all out there together. We don't compete. And that's one of the mindsets that we have to break. Us, we can't compete. There's no competition in us. We can
right.
compete against them, but we can't compete against each other because we should help each other. We should grow with each other. We should build with each other. We're not competing with each other.
That's a big deal. Now, what's the address over there, Kev?
2300 Lucina Street.
2300 Lucina Street. And for those that do want to inbox you, even though you ain't gonna get back to them,
Oh,
what's your
I
so?
get back to them, but it might be late. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just not good with the communication thing.
What's your
The
social
my
media?
my
IG,
the premier chef
the Premier Chef on Instagram, Facebook,
and Facebook and TikTok.
and TikTok. So you do TikToks too. That's great. I gotta go check some of those out.
Sometimes I need to get more. The funny thing is I done been viral on TikTok more than anywhere else, but I'm rarely on TikTok.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, you like me, man. You like all of us. We just social media was introduced to us. Like we didn't grow up with it. It was introduced to us. So
Yeah.
there's a learning curve to it. Well, man, I'm so excited. I feel like I got to bring you back because there's so much more that we need to discuss. We didn't go into the mental health. We didn't go into you and your dad getting back up and
Mm.
competition stuff. Man, I got paper here. I only spoke like 3 questions.
And we've
yeah,
been in here for hours.
yeah. I only got like 3 questions out of here. You know what I mean? And I have food
Yeah, I
questions too.
come back, brother.
I have food
This might
questions.
have to be a series. What do you say?
Yeah,
This don't have to be a series.
yeah, man. Because I mean, like I said, I'm talking about like competitions. I don't know if you've ever competed. It's just
Yeah,
so much, man.
I got trophies. I got trophies. I done competed, but my last trophy was in 2008. Like I haven't competed in decades. But
Yeah,
yeah, I have trophies.
that's great, man. That's
Uh,
great. That's great, man. You mentioned. Let me just get one more question in, then I'm gonna let you have the last word. You mentioned that when you go eat someone else's food, you feel like, wait a minute, I could do this better. No,
mhm.
how hard is it to like? Do you get psyched out? Like, oh, I don't really want to go, so you don't really go out to eat much. How is that? How is that?
Nah. Okay, so you got to think about it.
If you taste
The
something
people that
good,
I'm
if you
talking
taste
about,
some
I
good
can do
food,
it. The people that I'm talking about when I say I can do it better, that was all like family. Like it was like it's not like other restaurants. You know what I mean? It's more like
okay,
my family. I'd be like, I taste their food and I'm like, oh yeah, because like I was saying, I was referring to the West Indian side of my family, my son, mom
correct,
family. I ate their
correct,
food and I'm like, oh yeah, I can figure this out. I can make this better because that was just a challenge to me to conquer Caribbean cooking. You know what I mean? Because it's complicated. Caribbeans put a lot of love in their food. Like I can say, out of everybody I didn't cook with, Caribbeans put a lot of love in their food. But the most complicated food is the French. Like studying under French uh, bre- master chefs is really complicated because everything they do is procedural. And I would just say this: it's certain things that people don't know, like pastry puffs, um, buttercream icing. For instance, buttercream icing. You go and you get buttercream icing. You everybody say it's buttercream, but that's not buttercream. Like if you go and learn French pastries and
uh,
how buttercream is really made, you'd be like, what the? This is complicated as hell. Like
right.
buttercream, this just quick, buttercream, you have to melt sugar, like cook sugar, add water until you get what's called a syrup, soft candy consistency, whip butter, and add the hot sugar to the whipped butter at a pace that it does not melt the butter, but
What?
it does not solidify the sugar. This is how you make true buttercream.
What?
That is complicated as hell to me,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't know that. You know
Kind
what I mean? It's just and pastry puffs. Like I say, you see them in the store, you like, oh, they're good, okay. But a real pastry puffs, you have to cook at three different heat temperatures. What am I doing that for? Like you put
right.
in the oven at one temperature, take it out, put in the oven at another temperature, take it out, put in the oven at a different temperature, three different times at three different levels of cooking. So French cooking is complicated, is the most complicated cooking style I know. And coming behind that, they are very technical. But Caribbeans, to me, put the most love in their food, which is we also know is a direct link to the African cooking. So
Correct.
I would say Africans, certain regions of Africa. I can't say all, and I will not name one specific, but I'm gonna stay away from that. But certain regions of African cooking, they put a lot of love because
right.
deprived from the Caribbeans. You know, the Caribbeans, they get their cooking styles from the Africans, so therefore it's a lot of love into it, lots and lots of love, and that's why I really enjoy cooking Caribbean food because it's a lot of love, it's a lot of technique,
A
it's
lot of
time
love.
consuming. Yeah, you get involved in it. It's like involved
Right,
cooking, you know, like that saying,
right,
"Oh, you
right.
put your foot in this." Like, yeah, because
Yeah, yeah.
Caribbean
That's the
cooking, you
yeah.
have to put your foot in it, or it's gonna be
Right,
trash.
right. Wow. Yeah, you're
Hmm.
right. There's a lot going on with it. There's a lot going on. I ate a lot of it in Connecticut. I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot of
Yeah,
different foods there. Here, it's a little challenging to get that same taste to
to find
duplicate it.
good Caribbean food. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
a little. It's challenging. It's challenging, and I think it's probably because like if food like I mean, I definitely don't know food, but it seems like it was selling out faster back home, so it was like
Hmm.
fresher. But here it's
Hmm.
just maybe it's not enough people buying it, so it seems like the food is doesn't have the same freshness or something. I don't
I
know.
don't
It's
think a
just
lot of
plus
people
I don't
really
eat it anymore.
care.
I don't eat it anymore.
It's more the care process because you got to think in the South, a lot of people who cook Caribbean food, they southernize it, so therefore it's not the real Caribbean. You know what I
That's
mean?
true too.
It's
That's
like
true too.
Southern, most Southern people don't really have the taste of what real Caribbean food tastes like.
Right.
In New York, you do,
Correct.
and in Florida, you do because we got
Yeah,
we got all
definitely.
of them everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Um, but in certain places in the South, it's like they kind of downplay it and make it and mix it more with soul food and Caribbean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So therefore, you'll get that. You'll get more of that type of Caribbean food than you will get the authentic Caribbean food where you got rosemary, sprigs, and thyme leaves all through your food. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you got to
yeah,
pick
yeah,
out the
yeah, yeah.
allspice balls in it. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
don't
yeah, right,
understand that
right,
part.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
But anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for your time. You've just been listening to another episode of Willing to Talk About It with no other than Kevin Barge, better known as the Premier Chef. If you haven't eaten this brother's food, if you come to Charlotte, you definitely got to go see him. Check him out. He's there on Saturdays and Sundays. Go on his TikTok, check him out. You get to see some of the things that he's doing. He's always calling you, letting you know he's there. He's always in the videos, letting you know, letting you see some of the product, pulling you in, just pulling you in and pulling you in. And so it's a great experience. We know we talk about, like I said, we talk about food and we talk about the experience, the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is love, it's joy. I can't wait till the summertime, man. I can't wait to come out there in the summer and really eat some of that barbecue smoked food. I really can't wait till the summertime to do it. Thank you again, Kev. And like I said, man, we're gonna have to definitely come back and unpack some more of this. We couldn't do it all. We couldn't do it all. You took me somewhere, and I'm thankful, and I know the people that hear you, when they eat your food, they definitely gonna feel the love. They're not just gonna taste it, but they're gonna feel it.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for having me. And
Absolutely, man.
I'm ready to come back whenever you're ready. I know you're gonna have to break this down into series. So I'm anxious to see how you're gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My post production team will get it all out, man. They'll get it all out. They'll get it all out. But before we actually get off, let me just say this. Give me your last word and take us out.
I just want to say I'm thankful for being chosen by my people in the higher power to be in this position to help others. You know, it's just an honor, and it's touching to me that so many people look at me, not really knowing me, not really knowing who I am, but believing in me based on the fact of things that they see me do, and they continue to support me. They consider to show me love. They consider to continue to show me um, that they support me. Continue to come out week after week, month after month, year after year, and me still sitting at the top in Charlotte. Me getting national recognition. Me blowing the doors open on all different avenues where they're saying that it can be closed, and me showing people that if you just keep at it and you be consistent and you discipline at it and you show your heart and you give love, you can't fail. You won't fail as long as you continue to grow. It'll happen. Sometimes it take longer, but you have to stay with it, because if you give up, you'll never make it. But if you keep going, you'll reach your destination.
And on that note, we out.
Yo, you know it's Corey, and if you're looking for barbecue and fall off the bone turkey legs in Charlotte, then look no further. This is the Premier Chef, and you may remember this spot from some super viral videos I posted a few years back, and now he has even more juicy fall off the bone items that you won't want to miss. You can literally slice this with a finger, and as you can see with the turkey leg, he gave it a quick chop and the meat fell right off the bone. He starts each day before dawn, and everything is cooked low and slow for hours. The only problem that you're going to have is figuring out which item to get, because everything's going to sound so good. You can also be like me and just get one of everything if you can't decide. Every weekend he's out with a large menu of beef ribs, smoked chicken, smoked salmon, shrimp, crab legs, and even chopped brisket. He also has pork ribs, some of the best smoked chicken wings in the city, and of course the sides. It's always an experience watching him work and pulling these things right off of the grill as a true barbecue artist. He's located right by Camp North End on Lucina Drive and typically open on weekends.